I think somewhere along the line I realized if I just stay being myself, a lot of good things will happen in a world where nobody stays themselves. And I'm a Jersey boy from the fucking streets of Edison, New Jersey, right? Like this is how I talk. This is how it is in my head. No different than when you wrote that down to ask the question, like that's what was in your head. When I curse, it's in my head. And what's interesting is, it used to mainly only come out more in like public speeches and things of that nature. And then, like, I just never think, brother, right? I'm never thinking, right? And what I mean by that is I'm just being natural at all times. And so I don't even know when I'm cursing, genuinely. Really, I really don't. It doesn't even register. There's never been a moment where, like, I love when people like don't like it and they're like, he's forcing it. I just laugh so much. Cause I'm like, if these people knew how, if anything, there are times where I think about not trying to do it, but still can't control it because I'm just in my flow. As far as your first question, it actually ties to the second question. When I started public speaking and losing out on speaking gigs left and right because I cursed, I knew that I was gonna double down on what got me there, which was I'm not gonna overvalue other people's opinions, I'm gonna value my opinion about myself. The little voice in your head is called the insecurity devil. The insecurity devil on your shoulder is saying to you, don't do this because when you fail, the girl you like, your brother, your mom, your teacher, like someone's gonna think you suck and you believe them. And that's the problem. If people really got into a place of just doing things that they want to do and not worrying about what people thought about it, everybody would take risks in their 20s. You, by nature of being in this program, are already taking risks that are different than your contemporaries, so you're already halfway home. But this is still school, even though it's different. And the real world of jobs and companies and starting your stuff, that's the real jungle. This is just cool right now, what you're doing. But the real jungle is scary because there is no system. It's not subjective. Teacher Adam can't just say you're good. The world tells you the truth. And people are scared of the world. That's why we have professional students. And so, I think the reason people are scared of the world is they actually think getting fired or having their startup fail or them not being able to be an influencer because nobody gave a fuck is a bad thing, when I think it's a great thing. This all comes down to confidence and insecurity. The reason you won't do something is you are too insecure to do it. I am one of the all-time worst students of all time. Like actually. You have to understand, I was in the height of college propaganda. When you go to school from 1982 to 1998, you were in the sweet spot of 16 years where I had teacher after teacher in middle school and high school tell me that I was going to be a garbage man, because that was the bad thing. And so my failure was macro. Every grown-up in my life, besides my parents, told me I was gonna fail. My teachers and all my friends' parents. I think I'm overly successful because it wasn't a failure. It was a failure of a generation of growing up. The entire world, the thing that everybody in this room is scared of, was shitting on me every minute on the hour. Because your entire self-worth was about your grades. They did not grow up with that. It was a big part of it, but they could have made up that they were an entrepreneur and people would have believed them. Right? They could have made up to their parents and teacher and said, I'm gonna make $1 million on YouTube, and even though they didn't believe it, there was a 1% that they had to believe it because it's now true. When I was growing up, you were just fucking out. Convincing is a very dangerous game. What happens is you get people on board through your actions. I'm such a great communicator. One would think that so much is going for me because of my communication. I would actually argue that my communication style is actually a detriment to me up front, because there's a borderline level of cynicism that has to come along with the gift of gab that people use to protect themselves. And the reason I have anything meaningful is the truth of my actions eventually get those that are closest to see it on board and inspired to do.
Lately, as you pivoted 5 or 6 times yourself just in the last few years, where are you finding the most meaning in your pursuits?
Oh, disproportionately in the Garyvee of it all. Like, the Garyvee content thing, like looking at these young faces and knowing that some of them think I'm cool, thus giving me leverage and equity for them to listen to me so that I can tell them that kindness and patience and humility and being a sweet person is actually the winning formula is massive. When I get the feedback from people that you changed my life because I realized I didn't have to be a dick face, and I'm not a dick face, Gary. I'm not a dick face, but I thought you had to be a dick face to win the game, right? Like, to me, that is profound. And, I think for the people here who like skew towards being a guidance counselor or like a camp counselor or like a head coach, or, this will make sense to them because I have this in me. When you get your joy from other people getting joy from your actions, there's no better joy. It's just that what's I think a little bit unique about me, if I'm like analyzing myself as if I'm not myself, is that has come in like spiritual leaders, that's come in like parenting, that's come in guidance counselors and principals, and we haven't heard that from like gangster ass business people. Like, I think that's what's probably, as I analyze it, I'm like, why the fuck is this happening? I'm like, that's right. Like, I can't think of somebody who like fucking is crushing out here in that way, that's also spewing grandma shit. It's extremely zen when you can balance ambition with patience and gratitude. For me, I'm just happy I'm playing, and whether it works out or not is kind of irrelevant in some ways, truly. Of course I'd like to be successful in everything I do, but the not judging yourself against your own ambition is the superpower. And it's why you never burn out if you play that game.